I'm recording. So if anyone says anything that they don't want recorded. Okay, Microsoft Outlook and O365. I'm going to focus primarily today on the desktop version of Microsoft Outlook. And at the end, I'm going to talk a bit about Office 365 and what else we have available to us, which is a lot. So I'm not going to go into great detail there, but I want to make sure everyone kind of knows where they can look around and explore and find new applications that might be relevant to you and playing around with them. Okay. So the first thing I want to focus on is reduce action in your daily use of and thus saving your productivity. So I'm just going to try to step. These are just simple things. You may already know some of these things. If you don't, hopefully you'll pick up some good tips here. First of all, I like to encourage people to remove all of your new email notifications from your day-to-day process. So Outlook by default is going to pop up these desktop notifications. It might even make a noise. You've got mail, whatever. Every time you get a message, that is a productivity killer in my book. So I don't want to know when I have new email until I want to go and see whether I have new email. I deliberately turn off all notifications when I have new email. The place to do that primarily is in the system tray over here. You're going to have your little Outlook icon. Sometimes it looks like an Outlook icon. Sometimes it looks like two envelopes. If you right-click on that, you see it says Show New Mail Desktop Alert. Turn that off. Then you won't get that desktop alert every time a new email comes in, which won't trigger you to go read that email right away and stop whatever else you were doing. Obviously, these are personal preferences, but my recommendation for Outlook. Okay. The other place to manage your...
Unplug it when you want to read your email?
Well, you can always go to your Outlook and read your email. I mean, they're there. This is just like when you get a new email, you won't hear a noise, you won't feel it pop. If you weren't working in Outlook, let's say you were doing a presentation, or let's say you're writing something, coaching someone, you'll need that distraction. Okay. No more attendees. Uh-oh. Someone was not allowed to enter.
I think the maximum
Yeah,
amount
do you have a trainer?
Do I?
Yeah, would you go to trainer? Webinar?
Why don't we go to webinar?
Well, this is
Jared.
this is mine.
Sorry, that's something. She said that because you have a Mac. You have a Mac.
Got it. Okay.
So,
All right. I don't know who that was. Who just got rejected. Hopefully you can call in and listen, maybe, and then watch the recording. Oh gosh, I keep. All right. The other place to do this is in. The other place to do this is in the Outlook options. So you would go File, Options. Where is it actually?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, talk it as he said.
Yeah, you go to File, Outlook. You go to File, Options. Click on Mail, and then there's this Message Arrival section. Do you want to play a sound? Do you want to change the mouse pointer? Do you want to show an envelope? I don't even like to show the envelope in the taskbar, but whatever. That would mean that when I go down here, the icon for Outlook shows differently if I have new mail to read. That's, yeah. And then the desktop alert. So you can control all the settings right here for this as well. All right. Take control of your send receive. So this is an important one for me. I like to have a little buffer when I send an email before it actually goes out. Because sometimes you make a mistake. Sometimes you're sending something ultra sensitive, and there are a lot of Jennifers in your address book. You want to make sure you send it to the right Jennifer, and maybe the wrong Jennifer would be a really bad person to receive that email. Stuff like that. You can actually remove this send immediately when connected option. This is, I'm pretty sure this is selected by default in Outlook. So I always remove this. It's in the same place in the options. I believe this one's under advanced though. Did I write it down? Yeah, options advanced. Options advanced, and you're going to look for send receive. Okay, so the one option here is send immediately when connected. Uncheck that, and that means that emails will go to your outbox until your send receive process runs, which runs on a schedule. So the next thing is to customize your send receive process or cadence. Like, how often do you send receive email in your Outlook? How often does that process run? There are a couple reasons to control this and not just use the default. One, when your send receive process is running, it could really slow down your Outlook, right? Because it's running through like all your folders, and for some of you, a lot of folders, you know, it's like, is there anything new in this folder? Is there anything to send in this folder? Is there anything to delete in that folder? It can be kind of a killer for Outlook functionality. So it's good to minimize how often it's happening. Also, from the perspective of reducing distraction, you might not want it to happen every 60 seconds. Maybe you only want it to happen every 5 minutes or every 20 minutes. You might piss some people off if you're only getting emails every 20 minutes. But, you know, I think it's a healthy thing for all of us to take better control of how often we're reading our email. So to control your send receive schedules, in the same place, you'd click on the send receive button, and you can actually create your own schedules here. So I have three. I have one for all accounts. I have one called send only, and I have one called quick send receive. So my send only is like, if I put something in the outbox, I'll push it out like as fast as I can because I just told this person I'm going to email this to you, kind of like I just did for the GoToMeeting. I click send, and I click the send only, and it just sends everything, but it doesn't do anything else. So it's super light and quick. The quick send receive, I have running every 5 minutes, and this, you know, is only my inbox. It doesn't include any of my calendars or anything like that. So this is sort of every 5 minutes, just get new email and send out whatever is in my outbox. And so this is a screen where you can control what is set up to be included in each of these group send receive processes. And down here is where you set the cadence. So schedule this automatically every 5 minutes. All accounts schedule automatically every 30 minutes. Send only. I don't have this scheduled automatically. This is for me to just push the button and make it go, if that makes sense. So that's how you can take control of your send receive and kind of use it best to your advantage. Okay, so some useful shortcuts, and I am going to build on some of the things I talked about, like, you know, I have the send only. Like, how do I go about executing that, right? So I'll show you in a minute here. Some just general useful shortcuts. This is one of my favorite ones. I just used this to send the GoToMeeting to everybody super fast, okay? Everybody who has a GoToMeeting account, whoops. Everybody who has a GoToMeeting account has a standard standing meeting that you can use anytime you want. You don't have to schedule one. You can just start a meeting anytime you want. And it's always the same as far as the meeting code and, you know, the call-in number. So I use the Outlook signatures tool. So if you go to, there's a number of ways to get to this, but if you open a new email and you go signature, you can manage your signatures, and you can create different ones. Most of us just have the one standard signature that goes at the bottom of our emails. I have that right at VP Technology. I also have one from sending things related to privacy. I can call myself by a different title. But then I have Jared's GTM. This is just for me to insert my GoToMeeting information into an email quickly. It doesn't have to be a footer. It just can be like, you know, I need to send this to someone, so, oops, sorry. I just do that, and then there it is. So any block of information or text that you want to quickly insert into email, whether you have like coaching email templates or something like that, you know, you can just write that into a signature, save it, and I mean, they call it a signature, but really this is just like a quick template for stuff that you can insert into your email. It does replace the signature that was already there, so it's kind of like you can't have your footer signature and your GoToMeeting, but Usually these are in like a reply or something, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, or you could copy and paste.
Theoretically, you could have like a bunch of templates in there for common questions we get asked or whatever. Like, you know, you can find this by clicking on this button here, and like have them all labeled.
Yeah, customer care. If you guys are sending canned responses a lot, you know, this could be useful.
I guess
One of my favorite. I know, because it's called signatures,
Right.
but this is one of my favorite like Outlook hacks, so to speak. I mean, repurposing a tool. I use that all the time for the meeting thing. I personally don't have any other good use cases for it, but I'm sure that varies widely by role. Okay, inbox conversations. Hopefully this is not new to anybody, but if it is, I don't think this is a default setting, although I'm not sure about newer versions of Outlook. It's definitely not in 2010, and I don't think it is in 2013. And there could be some variability here in how to go about turning this on. I'm in 2016 because I'm kind of testing it for the company, so it might look a little bit different. If anybody has trouble turning this on, let me know, or Don, and we'll help you get it up. But basically, this is to convert so that it groups emails just the way every other email application does, your Gmail and things like that. It organizes emails that are, you know, to one another into conversation threads. You know, across multiple days or weeks. This organized messages. I personally don't know how I could live without this. I know that there have been some people who have tried it and been like, I can't deal with this, and turn it off. So this is a personal preference thing, but the way to turn it on in, I think, 2016 and 2013 is just this little drop-down arrow at the top of your inbox, and you've got this selection that says Show as Conversation. Check that box, and then it will automatically collapse all your emails into conversations, and then it'll give you this kind of, you know, like you can click and view the whole thread just like that, instead of all four of these messages distinct and separated in my inbox. Questions on the conversations? I think most people have that one, but I had to put it in here because it's like so important for working in Outlook if you don't have that set up. A few shortcuts that I think are really useful. Keyboard shortcuts. The ones that I use most often in Outlook are marking things as read, marking things as unread, and sending emails. Okay, so these are super simple. To mark something as unread, it's Control-U. To mark it as read, it's Control-Q. So let's just say this email, wait, I had a test here. So I want to mark this as read, I just Control-Q, Control-U, Q. I mean, super useful. Okay, I do that all day long. And then when you're done composing an email, you push Control-Enter and it sends. I mean, these are just keyboard shortcuts. They're useful. The other things that might be more valuable to you guys are these ways that you can customize your ribbon and customize your quick access bar. So your ribbon is this thing up here that has all these buttons and tools. I'm sure you'll use this all day long. Your quick access bar is the smaller one on the very top. Okay. You can add and remove icons to this to do things quickly. There's a drop-down that gives you some of the most common ones, okay? You can just add this up here, like reply, okay? That's the reply button. I don't want that one. Oops. So a couple examples that I have the button to create a new email, a new calendar invite, a new appointment, a new contact, a new task. I throw those all up there, so no matter what screen I'm on, no matter where I am in Outlook, I can do any of those things. I also have my send receive buttons up here. Okay, so this is where I go when I want to make sure, you know, that something just gets pushed out of my outbox. I click the send all button and it gets sent immediately. So these three buttons align with those three send receive accounts that I set up. So there are two ways to customize your ribbon quick access. The quick access, you can use these ones from the drop-down, or if you right-click and quick access, and then you get the functionality in Outlook, and you can put any of these on your quick access bar. So you can see I have send, receive all folders, send all, send, receive, and I think this one's a drop-down, like a, there are different, make it do whatever you want. The same thing in the ribbon, so if you right-click on the ribbon, customize the ribbon. Best example of this is I could create a whole new section, and it's called a group. So you have a need, but to the Jared group, I'll choose from commands that are not in a ribbon. Before I had those keyboard shortcuts, I used to use this a lot. I used to pick a button to mark as read and mark as unread. Okay, so I just added those to a group on the ribbon.
And you put your
Here it is right here.
You put your GoToMeeting on your ribbon.
That gets put on there automatically when you install the GoToMeeting plugin for Outlook.
And the same thing from Box.
Yeah, all those other things get put in automatically. Either they're default in Outlook or they're plugin that you have running like Box or GoToMeeting.
Okay, just real quickly, sorry. I go to my GoToMeeting is in that little arrow right there, where you have at the bottom. Go to the right. Yeah.
Well, this is not in Outlook. This is on your computer. So
Oh, so if I wanted to.
install the GoToMeeting plugin for Outlook.
Okay.
It makes it easy.
For like the Hopkins team, they don't have it and they didn't get access to establish that plugin, so they have to do it through their computer, but it wasn't really with Outlook. I have the plugin, it's great. I've got a
I mean, I'm mixed on plugins. I think that sometimes they can really slow down your Outlook. Bad. But, you know, it turns off plugin. So if plugin like disappears randomly one day, talk to Don. He can get it set up so that it will never disappear when you start up Outlook. Outlook's really sensitive about how long it takes for your plugins to load. If it takes longer than like 3 seconds, something, it just skips it. It's like, oh, forget about you. You're taking too long. You know, Citrix, GoToMeeting folks, you know, improve your plugin, make it so it doesn't take so long to load. And they're just sort of pretty strict like that. But you can click a box to say, always load this, like no matter how long, and that's what Don can help you with. So, keyboard shortcuts, customizing your ribbon, customizing your quick access. All right, another thing, quick steps. So I've got a lot of stuff. I'm going to start moving a little faster, guys. I know I'm moving pretty fast, but I think anybody can follow up with me or just ask people around you. We all have various levels of knowledge about how to use these things. Yeah, and I'm recording this. So quick steps are like shortcut actions. So it's a button click that you can program to do different things that you do all the time. Okay. This could be another way that you could, you know, send emails with canned templates or something like that. I use it more to take action off of an email I might have received. These are 3 examples of how I use the quick steps. One is to create an Outlook task with an attachment from the email I got. One is to create an Asana task, which if any of you use Asana, you can email tasks to Asana. So if you address to do that, you can create a quick step to do that. And then the third one, I think for all of you, is sending attachments to Box. You can actually upload files. I will choose that example to show you how to create that quick step really quick. So if you're in Box, slightly out of scope here, but your inbox and you go to the folder that you want to send files to, and you go to that folder's settings. There's a setting to allow email uploads to this folder. I would suggest also saying you copy this email address. That's specific for sending files to that folder. Copy that email address, save your changes, go back to Outlook. You create a new quick step, all right? Send to box. So when I click the quick step, I'm going to forward the message to an email address. That's literally all this quick step needs to do. As long as it includes the attachment, it's going to effectively upload that attachment to the box folder. And then it puts it up here, send to box. Where's my, okay, so let's say I do that with this. Hopefully that works. That was it. I just, this sample file just loaded into the box.
If you have like a subfolder, you have to do that subfolder that you want it to be in. Otherwise, it would be.
Oh, it's in my Outlook box. Or send it. There it is, sample file.txt. Okay. So quick steps are pretty cool. The Asana task is the same idea. This is like, I have an email, I want to create a task for myself in Asana. I'm the address that Asana gave me, and it brings over the attachments and the body of the email and the subject. It's pretty useful.
Say for the one where you're saying it, you have to put multiple things in. Does it make sense to have all these different shortcuts in there?
It might not. It might just make more sense. Save the box. You might do that.
And if we don't have box sync because we're part of
You don't need
here.
box sync to do this.
Okay.
I don't have box sync either. Save to box is part of the Outlook plugin. That's probably the quickest way. I mean, depending on how many it is, you could create quick steps for all of them. I don't have a ton of quick steps, so I'm not sure what it feels like when you have 20 different ones. Yeah.
Jared, would the box upload let you to upload a new version, or would it be its
There's
own?
a thing in the email box, email to upload settings, where you can say whether or not you want it to overwrite files with the same name, or like, presumably it will add a 1 and then a 2 and then a 3 if you don't check that box.
Okay, thank you.
If it's the same name, I think it will update the version.
Okay.
Okay, staying organized, finding your stuff. Inbox rules, critical functionality. I do want to note the difference between setting up rules in the desktop version of Outlook and the online version. If you create a rule in the desktop version, it only runs if your desktop version is running and connected to the internet. So if you create it online, like log into Outlook and get into your Outlook online and set up a rule there, those rules will get applied whether you're running your desktop version of Outlook or not. So really the best way to do rules is to go online and create them, but it really just depends on, you know, how you work, and if you ever use the online version, if you never do, it might not matter so much. Some good ideas for creating rules. Setting up read receipts for emails marked with high importance. I turned this one on recently. I think it's kind of annoying. I might turn it off. But basically, if you send a message with that exclamation point, then it automatically requests a read receipt from the person and tells you when they read the email. You can sort things into different partner and client folders. You can divert your box notifications. So if you haven't already done that, I would suggest doing that. You can set up notifications for when salad is here, which I have done, because
Oh my God.
Notoriously, it's very difficult to know when the salad is here on the mezzanine. So no, that's the one email I get per week that has a desktop notification pop up that says salad is here. And so you go to rules, manage rules and alerts. You can get to this a number of ways. You can right-click on an email you just got that you want to sort and say create a rule email, and it will kind of pull in by default like, oh, you want to create a rule for emails from Jared Rice or emails with the subject 123 ABC, whatever the email subject might be. So there are, I'm not going to dig into this too much, but you go here, you set up your rules, you can apply all kinds of, here's my salad is here rule. Let's just look at this one. So apply this rule after the message arrives. If it's sent to WCS Bethesda email address, has the word salad in the subject, display salad in a new item alert window, and display a desktop alert. Okay? This works. Works every time. Unless you don't send the email until the salad's like gone. It doesn't work. That doesn't happen, but okay. Searching your email. So this is probably where I should have let off because it's one of the most important things I think a lot of us do. I think we all know that there's this search box at the top of the inbox. I want to point out a few tips with regards to search. When you click in the box, yours might not look like this, right? Okay. It might be useful if it did, right? Because search syntax is challenging. We don't all know how to write it properly so that we get from this person with a subject that says this, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to encourage a couple of things. One, make sure you identify the boundaries within your searching, within which you are searching. Are you searching in the current folder or in the current mailbox, which would be all your, Jared at Wellness Corporate Solutions emails, or in subfolders, whatever. Most commonly, you're either going to be in one folder, like I need to search my deleted items, or I need to search only my inbox, or you're going to search your current mailbox or all mailbox. So that's one note, is to pay attention to that. It's important. The other thing is use the ribbon to refine your search, okay? If you want to get something that's from Natalie, use the from button and go from Natalie, okay? I probably don't have that much from Natalie, but that's the quickest way to get your syntax executed properly in your search. I know it will work if you just type Natalie's name, but then you'll also get things where Natalie's name is in the subject or in the body or whatever. So this is more targeted. You can do that also for subject, or whether something has an attachment, a category. And then the way I got these to show up every time, okay, so sometimes I just come here, I have this like permanent advanced search, right? From to date received, okay, yesterday, last month, last week, whatever. Is this more drop down right here? This gives you a whole bunch of different syntax things that you can apply to your search. And when you choose one, it adds it to this little advanced search box. So I want to get only important stuff from that. I have one thing. It's from 2014. Wow. Spray that isn't in my inbox. I think it might be. Okay, so any questions about search? It's so important. Oh, the other thing is find related. Let me use that one. Natalie.
Find related.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Find related means I found an email that I know was part of the conversation, but it's not the one I was looking for. Let me find all the emails that are related to this conversation. You right-click on one of the emails you found, and you'll see this find related, messages in this conversation. Another find related is messages from sender, but I just searched for from Natalie, so that's not going to do anything here. You can use this find related from any view. You don't have to search. So like, I can just, any email in my inbox, I can just right click on it and go find related, messages this conversation. Maybe they were like from a month ago and I deleted them and then the thread started up again or whatever. And this will just automatically execute the search for you and find everything in that conversation. It's funny. Those are two different conversations with the subject status. Okay. I'm not going to talk about the saved search folder. That's a little bit in depth right now. Working with calendars. Do unto others as they would do to you. First, I want to note, you can access anyone's calendar in the organization at any time. You don't have to get them to share it with you necessarily to see their availability. Anybody who has an @WCS email address. And you can add them to a nice, neatly organized list and then get back and look at them again really easily.
Without getting their permission?
Without getting their permission. You won't necessarily see the details of their appointments. You just see busy, free, tentative, whatever. So I like to do it by right-clicking over here, but you can also go up to the ribbon and go Open Calendar from Address Book. And then just search for people. So I'm going to search for Lapkoff. Okay. David Lapkoff.
My calendar is a mess.
Yours is a mess?
Which because I put my tasks on there.
I'll get to that in a second.
I know, it's really bad.
Okay, so here it is. I can see Lapkoff's availability. I didn't need to ask him to share his calendar. Now if I'm scheduling a meeting and I need to include Lapkoff, I can do it. I know he's available. Despite him having never shared his calendar with me, and I don't often create meetings with him. This is critical, and it automatically will add it to a folder called Shared Calendars, but if I want to put Lapkoff in a different folder like WCS Office, or if I want a folder for every department, whatever works for me, I can do that really easily.
Okay, so you just open the calendar from the address book.
Yep, you go to your calendar and you go Open Calendar from Address Book. You search our address book and you find them.
Are they notified if you do that?
I don't think so.
And if you have a client that has an client, or it's only within our own organization?
I don't think you'll be able to get to their calendar automatically, but I think you can share your calendars with them maybe.
I've done it so that if you put them on an invite and you go see availability, I can still see the client whether it's free or busy.
Oh, really?
So
maybe it would work if you try to add their calendar.
I haven't done that version.
Because you can do from address book, and you can search any address book. You don't have to search ours. So you could search your contacts. If that makes sense. It's worth a shot. I don't have a use case for that personally, but I get that you guys would. Okay. You can also add your personal calendars to your Outlook. This is crucial for me. I need to know when Jude's doctor appointment is. So, we have our Rice's calendar, and it just sits right here, so I can always see it. And I have it overlaid. You can view it separately. Also, do whatever you want. These are Gmail calendars. I think most people have Gmail addresses that they might want to add. I'll use this as an example. Obviously, the process is going to vary depending on what application or account you're using. But in your Google Calendar and your here, calendar settings, and there's going to be a private address you need to grab. The URL here. So you would copy that URL, and then you'd go back to Outlook. I do it again. Open Calendar from Internet. Yeah. So it's the same Open Calendar. Oh gosh. I just turned all my calendars off. One click.
I'm
Okay.
afraid to do it.
No, I just did a weird multi-click on my. Anyway, Open Calendar from Internet. Type the URL here, and it will add your Google Calendar to your view. Really useful. Okay. Calendar task tracking. If you like to put all your tasks as line items in your calendar, do us all a favor, and at least if you truly are free for an appointment, mark that item as free so that when people are looking at your availability, they can see that you're free during that time, even though you've got 5 30-minute things lined up for every morning or whatever it is. I know there are people who like this method of task management, and that's fine. I would say Outlook has functionality to support that. You can mark those tasks as free unless you genuinely can't be free during that time, right? I mean, you have to do something during 9 to 9:30 every Monday, then that's not, then that's an appointment, not a task. There are other ways, though. You could use the Outlook task functionality, and when you're in your calendar, if that's where you like to view your tasks, you go to the View button and a couple things. You can do Daily Task List. So if you're using the Outlook task functionality, then it will show your tasks due on each day at the bottom of your calendar. So it gets at like a similar functionality, but doesn't make it crazy and like you're busy and people can't get meetings with you. The other way you could show your tasks is use the reading pane on your calendar. I mean, these are all things that probably a lot of us use on the email page, but maybe we don't use on the calendar page, but they are here. Go to the, sorry, I meant the to-do bar, not the reading pane. To-do bar, tasks, and then there are all my tasks. So just to know, you can go to the calendar view tab and make all these changes to what shows up while you're looking at your calendar.
With that to-do bar, though, it's everything for the day. So it's not like hours within that day. You can't specify, drill down to that unless you put it on your calendar as an appointment and you mark it as free.
That's like the only. That's a good question. If it has to be done at a specific time.
Right.
I'm not sure the answer to that. I don't use tasks in Outlook really that much. Just use the flash. But I know there's a lot of functionality here. Yeah, you can check it out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So stepping outside of Outlook for a couple minutes here. First of all, I want to introduce you all to OneNote. I don't know if any, if people use OneNote. Different experiences with OneNote, like it's always trying to open, and I'm like, I don't want you now. OneNote, I've decided is a really useful application, I think. I mean, I used Evernote for a long time. It's also a note-taking application, cloud-based, nothing to do with our O365 account. But OneNote is a similar concept, but it's embedded into our O365 ecosystem. It links up and syncs up with all your Outlook stuff, all your calendar stuff, everything. I'll just show you one really great example of how I use OneNote and why, I got sold quickly. First of all, when you start using it, it's going to be automatically linked to your Outlook. So you shouldn't have to do much to make that happen. I use it to keep meeting notes, okay? That's one use case. So when I have a scheduled meeting and I want to take notes, meeting notes for that meeting, I create a new note, and then I go to meeting details right here, and it automatically shows me a list of the meetings that I have today. And then I can choose the one that I'm in, taking notes for, and automatically populates. It automatically populates thinking. I think there are way too many attendees. That's probably what is the problem right now. There it goes. Okay. It automatically populates all the metadata related to that meeting, the subject line and the date, time, and the location, and it has a link to the Outlook item, and it has the invitation message. If your agenda was in the message, for instance, and it has a list of participants. This is why it took so long. Is here. Melissa is not here. She's sitting next to me. So you can kind of identify who's here. And then I can take notes next to these as well, about who the people are, if it's like a meeting with a new partner and I'm like, okay, this person's title is X, whatever. There are tons of ways to use this. I find this really valuable. And you can always, it creates links back to the Outlook item. So this is one good example of how to use OneNote. You can also, by the way, execute this from Outlook. So let's just say I'm going to take notes for the O2 meeting. See this meeting notes button with the OneNote icon? That's going to create a note automatically, just like the one I just created. These are all settings, but I have it to prompt. I don't do it that way very often. I have it set up to prompt me like where I want to put that note. That's all that was. And then here it is right here. So pretty cool. Okay. OneNote. Things about OneNote. If you have it running, it gives you an always on, always accessible screen clipping shortcut. So I don't know if some of you use the snipping tool, okay? But the snipping tool is great, except you have to like go to start and get the snipping tool, and then when you take it, it opens in the snipping tool window, and then you have to save the image and all this crazy stuff, right? Well, when you have OneNote running, your task tray here, it gives you a few options, and it tells you the shortcuts. Take screen clipping is Windows Shift S. So you just click Windows Shift S, and then you get a little screen cap tool. Grab it, and these are all settings, but I have mine set to just copy that to the clipboard. That's it. I can take a screen cap anytime I want, copy to the clipboard, and then paste it into whatever I'm doing, whether I'm making a deck or I'm writing an email or whatever. This is so crucial. The only time I don't use this is if I need to edit the clipping in some way. Maybe I want to put shapes on it, or maybe I need it to be a file saved as a, an image file. Otherwise, I use this all day long. You can take notes dock to desktop. So this functionality is maybe you're watching someone else do a presentation and you want to take notes on it real quick. You can quickly add a new note, and I have the default setting so it docks the notes to my desktop. So now I'm looking at whatever I was watching, and I'm taking notes on it over here. And depending on what you're doing in the main window, it will even draw like links to that thing. So if it's a file or whatever, the note you create will automatically link back to it. So it's pretty cool as well. And then send emails to OneNote. So another way that these are integrated, you can forward things to OneNote if that makes sense for you. I've totally lost. Here's my sample. Okay. There's a send to OneNote button right here. And again, it's set to default prompt me where I want to put it. But you can create defaults for that as well. And then it creates this note with the attachment and everything. Kind of nice as well. Okay, so a few cool ways you can use OneNote. There's so much more to it. I'm over time, you guys. Sorry. So the last slide I have is about Office 365 Online. If you've never logged in, see that you can access your email online. I don't know if that's possible because you would have had to set up your account, but
change your password.
login.microsoftonline.com, right? Say change your password. So from here, you can get to the basics like Outlook. You can use your calendar. You can Skype from here as well. For those of you who use Skype, the company Skype a lot. Instead of running Skype on your desktop, for instance, you can use Skype. Some other cool things to check out. OneNote, which is here and synced to, you can set it up so that it's synced to all your notebooks. Where is it? Yeah. Stuff you create in your desktop version of OneNote online. I'm not going to wait for that to load. Planner and Teams. So these are just two other applications. If you go into the little apps button in the top left, you should see a big list of all different kinds of things that we have access to as part of our O365 subscription. It is not just an Exchange server. It is not just for email. It's, Microsoft is trying to create this entire ecosystem of applications for you to work within. Outlook and Calendar and Contacts and OneNote are just a few of them. Some others that I want to maybe suggest you look at. One is Planner. This is kind of like Microsoft's version of Asana. So if you use Asana for task or project management, or if you've used Microsoft Project in the past, this would be like a light version of that, but designed for team collaboration so that you and other people on your team can all interact and share projects and tasks here and collaborate and communicate somewhere outside of your inbox, your email inbox. I've played around with this. I think it's pretty cool. They're adding functionality to it often, so it's worth checking out. The other thing that's brand new that I would encourage you to all go look at is Teams. And I have this open already. So Teams is Microsoft's taking a stab at Slack. So if you've heard of Slack, it's this kind of new, super popular workplace collaboration web application so that you can communicate and collaborate with your coworkers without being in your email inbox. It's much bigger. You can attach documents and, you know, group collaborate. It's different than Skype. So it's a whole different conversation to talk through what this does and what you can do with it. And I'm no expert, not that I'm an expert on Outlook either, but definitely no expert on this. I've played around with it a little bit with Phil and Amanda and some people on the informatics team. I encourage you guys to come in here and check this out as well. It's kind of fun. I think it has potential. The one thing to note about all these online applications, they all work with what are called Office 365 groups, which is kind of a souped-up version of an email group. You know, like we all have WCS and WCS all employees or whatever. Those are just email groups. They aren't Office 365 groups. So you can see I have these like C-Team, Analytics, Screening Data Services, O-Team. These are groups I've created as Office 365 groups. That's the group type in O365 that permeates throughout all the different applications, and that sort of creates a bucket within which you would collaborate with people. Does that make sense? So if you want to try some of these things and you need a group created, just put up desk ticket, and it's super simple. Just say who you want to be in the group, or say I want it to be this whole department or whatever, and we can stand up new Office 365 groups. Yeah, to help desk. Put in a ticket to help desk. You know, so I have like, you can see it in my email as well. Here's the analytics group right here, and so it's an email group also. So I can send an email to analytics at Wellness Corporate Solutions, and it will go to the people that are in that group. But I can also collaborate in teams with people in that group, and you know, create channels and do different things that only those people see. Wow, sorry, I used all the question time. I totally.
It's like a workshop, another workshop.
I totally killed the structure of this, but that is the end. So I mean, I'll hang around for a couple minutes if there are any questions. Anybody in the room or anybody on the phone?
Thank you, Karen.
I know there was a lot of information.
That was great.
Cheers. What else?